Do you know that the Sabbath is prophecy? The Sabbath is so important to God's people that God made it holy. God's 7-day plan for man began with creation. Adam, Noah, Moses, David, and then at the beginning of day 5, Christ shows up, which was 2,000 years ago, which means we're at the end of day 6, about to enter day 7, God's Sabbath rest. The Sabbath is prophecy. After 2 days, Yehovah will revive us. On the 3rd day, God will restore us that we may live in his presence. With Yehovah, 1,000 years are like a day. Christ sacrificed himself in 32 AD. In 2032, it will have been 2 days since his first coming. After that, Christ will return, fulfill the final feast of trumpets, atonement, and tabernacles, and establish his 1,000-year kingdom or reign on earth, the 7th day Sabbath rest. After 2 days, God will resurrect us. On the 3rd day, he will restore us, and we will live in his presence. The Sabbath is prophecy. God's 7-day plan for man includes 7 millennials. We're at the end of day 6, about to enter day 7. The last days. In the past, God spoke to us, our ancestors, through the prophets. But in these last days, he has spoken to us by his Son. The last day. There remains a 7th-day Sabbath rest for God's people. So let us strive to enter God's rest and let no one fall short by disobedience. The millennium. We shall be priests of God and of Christ, and we shall reign with him 1,000 years. The Sabbath is prophecy. Revelation 26, millennium, is the 7th-day Sabbath rest, the millennial kingdom, when Christ reigns on earth with his people. We're at the end of day 6, about to enter day 7, and everybody seems to be asleep. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom means more than Sabbath peace. It means Sabbath completeness, which is what Daniel describes here in God's prophecy. 77s are decreed for God's people and Jerusalem to finish transgression, and to end sin, to atone for wickedness, to bring in everlasting righteousness, seal up vision and prophecy, and anoint the most holy place. Daniel 9:24. The Daniel 9:24 prophecy will be fulfilled here at Christ's return at the beginning of the 7th day, the Sabbath rest, the millennial kingdom. Remember God's holy Sabbath. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you can do all your work, but on the 7th day is a Sabbath to Yehovah, your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, your son or daughter, your servants. In 6 days Yehovah made the heavens and the earth, and all that is in them, and he rested on the 7th day. Yehovah blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. The Sabbath is so important to God's people. He commanded them to remember it, and they forgot. He who violates the Sabbath, keep the Sabbath because it is holy. He who desecrates it will be put to death. For 6 days work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath rest, holy to Yehovah. Whoever does any work on the Sabbath day is to be put to death. For 6 days work, but the 7th day shall be your holy day, a day of Sabbath rest to Yehovah. He who does any work on that day will be put to death. The Sabbath is important. It's part of God's plan. The penalty for breaking God's seventh-day Sabbath is death. Stop sinning. Do what's right. We are children of God, and we know that when Christ returns, we shall be like him. Everyone who breaks God's law sins. No one who lives in him keeps on sinning. Do not let anyone lead you astray. The one who does what is right is righteous. The one who does what is sinful is of the devil. No one who is born of God will continue to sin. This is how we know who the children of God are, who the children of the devil are. Anyone who does not do what is right is not God's child. This is from 1 John 3 in the New Testament. The Sabbath is the kingdom. You must not worship Jehovah your God in their way, because in worshiping their gods, they do all kinds of detestable things like that Jehovah hates, like Christmas, Easter, and Sunday. See that you do all I command you and do not add to it or take away from it. Christ said, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter God's kingdom, but only he who does the will of my Father in heaven. The kingdom comes on the seventh-day Sabbath rest. Who can enter God's kingdom? I think we've just seen what that requirement is. The Sabbath is prophecy. The Sabbath is prophecy. It's the last day. The last day's third day. It's the day of the Lord. It's the seventh-day Sabbath rest. It's the millennial kingdom. The Sabbath is prophecy, part of God's 7-day plan for man. Obey God's commands and enter his kingdom, or else.